Welcome to Comic Station, where we try to go over the new issues for each week, going on new releases, issue number 1s. And this is issue number 89 of Comic Station for September 10, 2014. We're back in the Comic Station shop with Scott, and we'll be going over a number of the reviews that we have here today, as well as the reviews that you can find on frontwardsgamer.com.
Just when they thought they could get rid of me.
I know.
They pulled me back in.
You thought you could get rid of us, and we pull you back in.
That's right.
So we're gonna start off with actually a comic that's typically on my pull list. This is 68 Homefront. This is the 68 comics is Vietnam War with zombies. This one is, as you can probably tell from the title, is in America, and it starts off with a more rural town in Pennsylvania, and during the time of the Vietnam War, where they're going, of course, but a homecoming event, a rally, pep rally going on, and it's a group of cheerleaders heading out there. Of course, there's a bunch of mentioning of teenage girls, cheerleaders, mentioning of sex, so forth. So this is a mature title right off the bat, and slowly they start introducing, you see some shambling in the background, and eventually by the end of it you have a full zombie outbreak is starting up. It's fun. It took a little while to get going, but some of the zombie fighting is funny. At one point a woman takes a frying pan and knocks the head off one, and it's hilarious.
Outstanding.
That's good. But the artwork is great. I always like their artwork. The storyline, again, I like 68, but if you like it, it's more zombies in America during the Vietnam era. You got greasers, cheerleaders, and jocks.
Awesome. What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Well, my first book this week, Marvel, The Edge of the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Noir. Interesting story. Starts off, I really liked it. It basically takes, it puts Spider-Man that we all would think is Spider-Man and the bad guys that we all know, but it puts them into about a 1920s, 1930s type of an era. The main bad guy in this is Mysterio. He's not wearing the bubble that we're all used to, but he is a magician. And this Spider-Man doesn't so much have all of the spider powers as much as he does rely on a gun, but he's more of a detective type than a normal Spider-Man. So
Spider-Batman.
Yeah, basically. And then this is the setup. There's going to be a second issue of this, but it will tie into all the Spider-Man,
Spider-Verse, everything. Excuse to get all the Spider-Mans together.
So this ends up with this guy from the 20s, 30s being drawn into the future to meet up with Spider-Man 2099, who is also got a bunch of other Spider-Mans in the last caption. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was decent. I like anything that's a different take on our current characters. So artwork was fantastic as usual. It's Marvel, so you know.
Mm-hmm. The more older style artwork, so not necessarily quote unquote noir with black and white, but it definitely is an older style.
Absolutely, I enjoyed it.
Cool. I like the.
And I'm throwing it around.
I like the take on artwork. I always like the older styles. Coming up from Boom Studios, this is I want to say it's a weird smaller title, but this is Wild's End #1. This is a 1 of 6, and I have a hard time placing this one. The artwork is a little rough. It is anthropomorphic characters. So you're first, right off the bat, looking at the cover and looking at some of the pages, just looking at the artwork, you want to say it's younger readers. However, it is set in a English countryside with some vocabulary that may be above the heads of younger readers. You're probably going to say teens at least on this, just for the vocabulary and getting some of the ideas. It is a slower paced, but basically, just summing it up, it's anthropomorphic characters. By the end of it, you get a falling star that crashes on the ground and the raving lunatics of a drunken fox. So
you got some really good stuff you've been reading. You got Drunken Fox, you got zombies.
It's my favorite kind of fox, drunken.
So that's a beautiful thing. My next book is Prometheus, Fire and Stone by Dark Horse. This is the beginning of the Prometheus movies into the Alien movies.
Mm-hmm.
This will also turn itself, I believe, now that they've lost Star Wars, that this will be the most of the flagship books will be based around the Alien franchises coming up, because there is a couple more coming out. This is the first of 6, I believe, and if you like aliens, even if you didn't like Prometheus, you should like this. The artwork is fantastic. It's modern. It's right where it needs to be. Everything is already set out in space. So you're basically getting the beginnings of even before Prometheus.
Yeah, the whole fire and stone idea is basically they're doing what, like you said, they're doing to Aliens what they did to Star Wars. They're creating a larger, expanded universe, and they are trying to keep it as close to canonical as possible and make these really within the universe, make this legitimate.
Well, this was definitely, like I said, if you like Aliens, it's definitely worth the read.
Whether or not you like Prometheus.
Well, that's, we're not going to get into Prometheus right now, but hopefully they do a better job with the books than they did with that particular movie. But so far, it's off to a good start.
Oh, that sounds good. I love the Aliens. So the next one we have here is from Image Comics. This is Copperhead, and even in the back of the book, the author mentions in his ending, they like to put the editor letters from the writer there, and even in that he mentioned that he really came up with the idea and it stuck with him for a while, and this is his Deadwood in space. So if you like westerns, this has a sheriff coming to town. She's new to town. She has to set up getting her respect in the beginning, as well as a deputy that maybe has some issues with that, but it's on another planet. She, the new Sheriff Brunson, sets herself up very quickly as a, keeping it family friendly, is she's a BA, and I like her, and she was the strongest point of this issue. I'm not into so much the Western sci-fis. There's been a lot of them, but she was a strong character. I like that. The kid, her kid is interesting. Why she left and why she's going to this far-off Western town planet when she can go anywhere. But so it's interesting. I like it. It's a good story so far. And then, come on, it's Deadwood in space. If you like Deadwoods, check it out.
Outstanding. My last book here, this is my favorite book that I read today. This is Annihilator by Legendarry Comics. This is
Grant Morrison.
Yeah, it's Grant Morrison. And with Grant Morrison, it can go either way. It's either really good or really bad, in my opinion. But this one I thought was really good. This is a story of basically a washed-up screenwriter who is looking for just some kind of spark to his next greatest thing. Moves into what is supposedly a haunted, horrible house in Hollywood Hills. Moves in. And at the same time, out in the middle of the universe, there is this massive black hole that's called the Annihilator. It is used as a prison for bad criminals. They get locked up in these houses and basically, over time, get sucked into this black hole. Well, the one criminal that's in this, that gets put away, is trying to defeat death. And in the meantime, back on Earth, our lovely screenwriter, who is in a drug-induced fugue, he is writing the story of this alien. And this goes back and forth. At first, it's a little confusing, but then it really levels itself out, and you see exactly where this is going. At the end of the book, they have a meeting. Now, I'm not going to do anything else to spoil it. But it's a very interesting concept of how it's done. One thing, though, and Paul and I discussed
is... big flag.
Yeah, mature readers, there's some very heavy drug use in it and a lot of sexual content in part of the book. So just be aware of that, and language is, not so bad, but everything else is definitely adults only. So
there's a little text on the barcode, but who reads that? But there's a smaller publisher, they don't always put the parental advisory sticker on.
Yeah, and I think this is the first book I've ever read from Legendarry.
Yeah, that's a rare.
Yeah, so I really like it. I thought everything about it's well written. It's the artwork's fantastic, but once again, it is for mature readers.
Definitely.
I definitely enjoyed this. Was out of the 3 books, this was my favorite today.
Very cool. So yeah, we got a lot of strong contenders this week. But of course, you're figuring, hey, what about all the Future's End one-shots? There's a ton of new issues. Well, we didn't cover that because Lito, thankfully for us, covered that on frontwardsgamer.com. He has a kind of wrap-up on the whole Future's End one-shots. I don't know if he's going to keep updating it with all the ones that continue to come out, but at least what there's out so far. He also has up Never Forgets and Original Sin as the series. Since issue number 8 of 8 came out, he's wrapping up the series. He's reviewing it as a series. Nailbiter and Southern Bastards, of course. And of course, because we're expanding a little bit out of comic books, but related material, and Lito is continuing his reviews of The Strain with episode 9 and Doctor Who episode 3, and Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. I kind of wanted to see that just to see what weirdness that is. But, of course, one of the bigger titles is The Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. Check it out. That's another hit or miss one.
Yeah, I've personally, I've heard not good things about it, but I have not seen it, so
I like the first one. The first one was pretty good.
Absolutely, I did like the first one.
So we'll check that out. But if you're interested, check out the review that Lito did on frontdoorsgamer.com, and we'll be back next week with all the new issues, trying to cover the highlights. As always, please feel free to leave a comment. Let us know if we missed anything that you're interested in. Did we get any of these wrong? Are you really in love with one of these and we didn't sell it enough for you? But let us know. Keep it going. And let us know if there's anything that we missed that you want to see. Alright?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And as always, we'll be up every Wednesday. And we will see you next week.
See you.